Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I have for you a Dolphin controller profile for use with Spectrobes Origins, a game for the Nintendo Wii. If you are unfamiliar with Spectrobes Origins, maybe go check out my playlist. It's kind of a action-oriented Pokemon thing, but Disney and in space. There's a little more to it, but that's the basic picture. And while that may seem simple, it definitely has a interesting control scheme because it's on the Wii, namely motion inputs, which are kind of divisive to say the least. But regardless of what you may think of them, they made mapping the controls on my end a little difficult. A lot of trial and error went into this project is what I'm trying to say. So I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. Gives me motivation. Alright, so to start off, I set this up for Xbox controllers. Mine is a third-party one that does not have a gyro sensor or rumble, so I did not set stuff up for those. So I do apologize if you wanted those capabilities. The basic layout of this game is that the left stick, left bumper, left trigger is going to be the nunchuck, and everything else is going to be the Wiimote. Well, okay, with the exception of the right trigger, but we'll get there. Left stick is movement, left trigger is change spectrobe, left bumper is point the Wiimote at the screen so you can see the IR pointer. Back and start are minus and plus, respectively. Minus is used for minimap, plus is used for menu. Thought those would be a good fit. X is 1, Y is 2. That puts healing in the Dark Souls / Monster Hunter position. And 2 is used for some random informational things. So yeah. A and B are mapped to, surprisingly, A and B. I know, revolutionary. A is attack, and B is your Spectrobes super, which are actually in pretty good positions on the Xbox controller, I feel. The D-pad works like the D-pad on the Wiimote. Up is lock on, down is reset camera, left and right are camera rotation. And before you get mad at me that I made the camera controls attached to the D-pad so that you have to do some weird Monster Hunter claw grip, I also put left and right camera rotation on the right stick, which also controls your go and come back commands for your Spectrobe. And trust me, you most likely will not accidentally activate these commands while rotating your camera. I've tested it for quite a while, and it seems like you have to majorly mess up to get up down instead of left right on the stick. Though, I mean, people are probably pretty used to rotating their cameras up and down as well, so who knows. The right bumper. I tried to make a go command, but it seems to swing the Wiimote too harshly, and so it doesn't return fast enough when you release it to spam. So you have to wait like 2 to 5 seconds after pressing it to use it again. I don't know. I got these settings to where they would work. You can mess with them if you want to perfect it. I'll add a link to the perfect one if I manage to get that done eventually. The right trigger, I tried to make a comeback command to about the same effect, so just be careful about spamming those, I guess. I tended towards using the right stick anyways, which has the Wiimote swing return faster so you can spam it more often, because it's a stick with like sort of a gradient activation rather than a button which is just on and off. Anyways, the right trigger also acts as the B button to maintain a similar feel to the actual Wiimote with its B button trigger. If you're one of the people who likes using the right trigger for the comeback command, the B button technically takes priority. So if your Spectrobe has a fully charged meter, you're going to get super instead of comeback, which in my mind is not really a detriment, but if it turns out to be, you know, that's an easy fix. However, the right trigger is also linked to nunchuck swing right, which I think if you've played this game before and know the motion controls, you know where this is going. For the rest of the class, essentially what this means is when you press the right trigger to activate the super, it will put the nunchuck and Wiimote in the position needed to charge the super. But for some reason, it doesn't charge the super so you need to press right bumper as well. I don't really know what sense that makes. I never fully figured out what pose you had to strike to charge your super, but whatever, it's functional. And then once your super's charged, you just need to press right trigger again and it'll release it. Bada bing, bada boom, you've just spelled the crawl's doom. The next thing I want to talk about is how the IR works. So on the nunchuck, you hold the C button in order to move the cursor around in combat. So I've mapped the IR pointing activation thing to the left bumper, and you move the actual pointer around with the right stick. There's a lot that I've disabled during the IR point mode so that it works correctly and you're not accidentally pressing things that might cause involuntary actions. And while in this mode, R3 is effectively the A button, so you can just really easily click on stuff. The one final thing I want to talk about is awakening Spectrobes, because kinda requires precision, at least in regards to when you will shake the Wiimote and nunchuck. I've mapped shaking the nunchuck to L3, but I found that mapping the Wiimote shake to something doesn't work the same. I don't know, maybe it needs a bigger shake. I don't really know how to do that, but using up on the right stick will work. Just keep in mind it's kind of delayed because the swing has to be set slow so that it'll actually register that you are using the go command in combat. And to my complete and utter surprise, holding up actually does this command in repetition, so don't hold it for too long unless all the Spectrobes notes are Wiimote shakes, and then hold it as long as you want. So that's kind of the last note for the control layout itself. However, I did find one other thing that could potentially change a meta. Because of the speed the IR pointer needs to be set to for combat, it's a little sensitive when trying to excavate stuff. Not to mention it drifts downward slightly for some reason. I don't know how to fix that. Anyways, this makes the laser much more risky than if you were just using a normal Wiimote on the Wii. But then because you essentially have a turbo option on the swing for the Wiimote, the hammer becomes much more efficient, being able to just smash a fairly wide hole through one of these blocks in pretty much no time at all. I don't know, if you're clever you can burrow a hole through a part you know there's no Spectrobe bits in, and then place a bomb in there. Might lead to more precise charge placement, who knows. Overall, I found Excavation to be much harder with this setup. I would legitimately be surprised if someone right off the bat was like, zip zoop zap, here you go, here's a level 100 Torga first excavated Spectrobe on Witera. I've done the tutorial like 3 times with this setup by now, and I haven't been able to get past a level 2. But you know, if you got your original Torgas level up past 1000 with this control scheme, let me know in the comments down below. I would like to know how you did such a thing. I think that is realistically all for gameplay changes though. So yeah, there's a download in the description if you need to know where to drop that controller profile. It should be under Documents, Dolphin Emulator, Config, Profiles, Wiimote, and just put it in Wiimote. And you should be able to find it in the drop down of like saved profiles when you go to configure your Wiimote. I think that is all for this video though. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, leave a like if you liked. I actually spent an amount of real world hours on this, so I would really appreciate the support. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic day-night cycle, and sayonara.